Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Well, Tony, we had resolved to record a very specific number of podcasts during the year 2023, and we needed to do one more. So here we are. Lucky for us, there is breaking news involving the Ohio State football team that we could tell you all about.
The tight end ball has dropped in the transfer portal for Ohio State as they land a transfer from Ohio University tight end Will Kacmarek, 6'6", 256 pounds from St. Louis, 22 receptions, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns this season. Also a rushing attempt, Tom. I'm not sure if that's a screen or not. I guess it will be. But now the Buckeyes have gone to the portal for a tight end, and this is something they've been trying to do for a while, and now it has finally happened.
Yeah, and I think maybe one of the more important numbers on there is 6'6", 256. He's a little bit bigger than some of the other tight ends they have on the roster. It feels like the blocking piece of the tight end room has not been consistently great over the last few years, and you kind of need that inline tight end. You got some talent in that room. You know, Jelani Thurman is a very, very talented young receiver. You've got G. Scott obviously coming back next year, but just having another, big inline tight end feels like this fills a role for them that you've sort of been seen missing at times over the last year or so.
Yeah, and now if you're losing, obviously, Cade Stover, this gives you an opportunity to have an experienced player. Started, I believe, 10 games this year for Ohio as their top tight end, and is a certainly adept and experienced in the run game, and they look to him as a receiver as well when they're not looking at former Ohio State receiver Sam Wiglusz. So you've got that. In terms of what they're getting from him for next year, obviously he's going to have some eligibility for a couple of years. 20 catches as a freshman in 2022, 22 this year. So this to me is more than just a body. This is a guy that has been productive and is looking to continue that productive and is looking to move up a step to continue that production, and feels like he'll be able to do that at Ohio State. And when you look at you're losing Cade Stover, you have G. Scott, presumably. You have Jelani Thurman was playing a little. Jelani Thurman, I believe, started the Cotton Bowl with G. Scott. They opened up in some 12 personnel, and he was playing out there. Obviously, he's still very young. Behind them, you've got Sam Hart, you've got Bennett Christian, and you're bringing in 2 true freshmen in this class, Demarion Witten, who is not ready to be a tight end, and we'll see where he is, whatever he is. So they've got some bodies, but we were wondering if they would go and get a veteran who is a true, natural, legitimate tight end, and to use him with G. Scott. And I think Jelani Thurman will eventually be there, but you can't, unfortunately, nowadays, you cannot assume that a sophomore tight end is going to be ready next year. So you go out, and if Jelani Thurman wins the job, plays, outstandingly well, that's fantastic. But you wanted to go out and get a known quantity to help who is going to be a 5th-year guy next year in G. Scott. And I think this is a pretty good pickup for what they need to do. It can't be their last pickup, but it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, a known quantity is, I think, a great way to describe this, where you've got a guy who's got a couple years of track record, a couple years of film. You have a sense that he can block. You have a sense that he can catch the ball when you need to catch the ball. G. Scott has played a bunch. You've seen some from him. He has not put up massive receiving numbers. He's not been the greatest blocker on the team. You have Jelani behind him. You've got Jelani Thurman, who just finished up his first year. And as you said, this is, they talk all the time about how the tight end position at the Ohio State level is you have to be able to block Big Ten defensive ends and you have to go be able to catch the ball against Big Ten corners and linebackers. That is not easy, and neither of those things are easy, and you got to be able to do both of them in order to play at Ohio State. So that's a very high bar to clear, and Jelani Thurman is sort of seemingly on his way to doing that, but will he be there in September next year? We don't know. You've got Sam Hart, who you really just have not seen play a whole heck of a lot over the years. You've got Bennett Christian, who just had to sit out the whole year with a suspension. I think they think he's going to be a pretty good blocker for them and a pretty good tight end for them, but who knows? He just had to sit out the whole year. So there's a lot of question marks in that room. And then behind them, you've got Max LeBlanc and DeMarion Witten. And we just talked about how you're not going to be able to bank on true freshman tight ends. You just lost your Royer to the portal. You're losing Cade Stover to the NFL. This gives you another good, solid veteran body that gives you the opportunity to have someone who you at least sort of know what you're sort of walking into next year with. It eliminates a little bit more of the uncertainty in that room.
I wonder what they would have done if Joe Royer hadn't transferred, and if honestly, Joe Royer wouldn't have solved the issue of the experienced tight end. And so this helps that. I go back to a tweet that I sent in May of 2021. By my count, every tight end Ohio State has signed since at least 1996 who didn't transfer, medically retire, or move positions has cashed NFL paychecks. And some of that is, undrafted free agent. Some of that is practice squad. But if you stick it out as an Ohio State tight end, you'll get a shot at the NFL. And having watched Cade Stover these last 2 years, you also will get a shot at catching passes because, as we know, Tom, this is tight end university, and every year is the year of the tight end. Maybe no time more so than next year when you're bringing in a new weapon at the position who perhaps grew up wanting to be a Buckeye, even though he is from not
St.
Ohio,
Louis?
St. Louis, Missouri. That's right. So we'll see what he does, and getting in for spring, I assume he'll be able to be here, and January classes start here shortly. The first transfer portal edition for Ohio State. I'm wondering, is the over under, 7.5, something like that. I think they brought in 8 or more last year. I think you continue to do that, because they're no longer in a situation where they're only trying to bring in starters. They're hoping guys start. They hoped Jihad Carter won a starting job. Hoped Vic Culler was good enough to win a starting job. Turns out neither of those guys are really good enough to create an impact. Here, if you're bringing in somebody who is an experienced starter for Ohio, you would expect him to be more involved, because Ohio, it is the MAC, but it's not FCS. It's real football. And this is a guy that should be able to contribute. I don't know if he's going to be the starter. He did start a couple of games last year as well as a freshman. So he's not coming here to just build depth. He's going to want to play, and he has the experience that can make that happen.
Well, and as much as they play 12 personnel, I think there's a pretty clear path to the playing field there. Even if you want to say G. Scott's going to be tight end number 1, and probably he's going to be a pretty significant portion of that tight end room, and you may sort of pencil him in as tight end 1, but there is going to be more opportunities to be out there, and they have gotten more creative in the ways they've used their 2 tight ends over the years and that 2 tight end look. So yeah, I think there's a path to the playing field here, and how often does everyone stay healthy in the room? I mean, this is a really good addition where this is going to be something that people kind of look at and shrug. And if you lose someone, if he can come in and make an immediate impact and just be a good solid blocker for them on the edge. You look at the roster right now, at the quarterbacks on the roster, everyone on the roster is a lot more mobile than Kyle McCord was last year, than CJ Stroud has been the previous couple of years. They are reportedly looking at another relatively mobile quarterback in the transfer portal right now. It sure seems like the quarterback run game is going to be a bigger part of the run game at Ohio State and the offense at Ohio State in 2024, having good blocking on the edge is going to be an important part of that. If Kacmarek can come in and give them good blocking off the edge, guess what? It's not the exciting part of being a tight end. It is the part of being a tight end that gets you on the field at Ohio State. So if Kacmarek can come in and be a good blocker on the edge in a more quarterback run-centric offense for Ohio State in 2024, guess what? He's going to be playing a whole lot of football for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about this moving forward as we continue to preview the upcoming 2024 season. And we'll have more for you on this and everything else with the portal as well. So stay tuned to us. Hit the bell to be notified. If you want to go ahead and give this video a like as well, we would appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not. Of course, you can find us at BuckeyeHuddle.com talking about this and many more things. Join now, become a member. It is a great way to support what we do here. So that will do it for us. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys later.